Thank you, Madam Speaker. I thank Congressman Walden for his sombering words, for his actions. He has a bill that will protect pre-existing conditions. The difference about that than today, it's actually a bill. This is a resolution. I always thought when you ran for Congress, you'd want to do more than a press release. Apparently, it's different with a new election, Madam Speaker. Show me your budget, show me your values. It's been said so many times on this floor. Those were the words that have been recited by Speaker Pelosi quite frequently. You could have a whole ring of videos of her just saying those exact words. But of course, that was before the newly minted Democrat majority quickly decided they won't be introducing a budget. Madam Speaker, I wonder if America will question the values. It appears they won't be sharing their values with the American people. But as if we had questions to what those values were, this week removes all doubt. Madam Speaker, we're celebrating 40 years of C-SPAN. But I wonder if those who are watching today understand what is happening. You see, in this floor, they learned early on, even from a childhood of Schoolhouse Rock, I'm just a bill on Capitol Hill. This is not a bill we're talking about. This isn't even a resolution that goes to the Senate. This will never end up with the President. This will do nothing for your health care. But what will it do? It will make a great press release. The difference, Madam Speaker, in one election is what happens on this floor. The difference is, do you really want to protect people with pre-existing conditions? Because, Madam Speaker, there is an individual that has a bill that is filed, that has co-sponsorship, that is sitting in committee, that the Democrats control. They didn't mark it up. They didn't talk about it. They wrote a resolution. To those who are watching on C-SPAN, I know what you've watched on this floor before. I know what you watched in the last Congress. That we sat and we talked about not a resolution for children's health, for the CHIP program. We wrote a bill. We extended it longer than anyone's ever dreamed possible, a full decade. And yes, Madam Speaker, we had to do it with one side of the aisle. Because the majority on the other side of the aisle didn't even write a press release supporting it. They voted no. To those who are watching in C-SPAN and questioning what has gone on in this House. Yeah, they watched in the last Congress when we had an opioid epidemic that we wrote a bill. We didn't write a press release and we didn't write a resolution. Or when the National Institute of Health, where you could really care about an individual with health care and solve a problem, we didn't write a resolution about giving them more money. We actually voted for it. We actually moved it through committee, and we put a bill, and we funded $3 billion more. To those who are watching on C-SPAN, don't change the channel. Don't wonder if the words that were used before, show me your budget, show me your values, but there is no budget. And you're probably going to question their values. Show me the bill and show me your values. I guess that's the new line we should ask. Because what does a resolution do? Maybe we can all get together and go to Rayburn Room today and have a press release. What? Let's go further. Let's do a press conference. Let's get really serious about a problem. And let's write a resolution for the floor. Because that problem will still exist. A lot of people put a lot of effort into running for office. A lot of people make a lot of promises. And the American expect legislation to solve them, not a resolution. You know what's most ironic today? If you wanted to solve the problem, there are options there. If we're worried about a lawsuit, if we're worried about pre-existing conditions, go to Congressman Walden's bill. Let's bring that on the floor. It's not a resolution. We'll have to vote for something different. We'll have to actually vote for a bill. It's interesting Then on the other side of the aisle, Madam Speaker, I heard people were concerned, the Republicans were concerned about what Obamacare has done, that premiums have been risen, that the promise we were given that if you liked your health care, you could keep it, and to millions of Americans that proved to be a lie and false. We're not the only ones who believe that's been a failure. If that was not true, why does half of the members on the other side of the aisle co-sponsor a bill that says Medicare for all? They must believe it's not working either. Or maybe they want to take more health care from individuals. I'm not quite sure. Because the way I look at Medicare for all, it's got a great name. Anybody at 65, they should get Medicare, and I'll stand with you. But you shouldn't take away 158 million Americans' private health insurance. Because that's exactly what you do. Why don't you make another promise to the American public and deny them their health care? Or why don't you even go further? For everyone who's on Medicare Advantage, that goes away as well. Or for everyone who's on a Medicare itself, you're going to bankrupt it. You got that in legislation. That's not a press release. Why don't we bring that to the floor of committee? Why don't we debate that? And Madam Speaker, when I sat on this floor and I heard the words used from the other side of the aisle, from the leader of that side of the aisle to say Republicans don't care about Medicare, that was a lie. Medicare Part D. You know, when you talk to seniors, you know what they're most concerned about? The price of prescription drugs. Well, for those C-SPAN viewers that had more than 40 years to watch it, Republicans were in the majority. You know what they did? They didn't bring a press release down with a resolution. They brought a bill. They created Medicare Part D to lower prescription drug prices. It's been one of the most effective programs around. And you know what we had to do? We had to do it alone because we passed legislation. We didn't pass a press release. Madam Speaker, shame. Shame on an individual that would believe the lie to the American public about their own health care, lie about another side, but more importantly, say you care about Americans' health and bring a resolution. I want to see everybody go home this weekend, go back to their constituents, and tell them what they did about pre-existing conditions. They passed a resolution when they could have passed a bill. I happen to be the leader of the Republicans, and I stand here in this body, and tell you we support pre-existing conditions. I tell you to bring his bill up, Congressman Walden, and we'll support that bill on this floor. We won't support shams. We won't support press releases because we care about the American health. And we will not support kicking 158 million off their health care. I know half the body on the other side has co-sponsored that. That's even further than I've seen before. They want to end Medicare Advantage. What are you going to say that to the seniors? And that's not a press release. That's something you're really going after. If you are serious about your words, if you believe you care and are concerned about a court case because maybe you wrote a bill that isn't constitutional, you could have solved it today. You know what we could be talking about today? You own the majority. You control the floor. What's most interesting, the majority of bills that you brought to the floor in this new majority, you brought more bills and resolutions to the floor than even passed the committee. But you sat here and told us it's for the people. You were about to have 100 days, but it's 100 days of disappointment. I never thought a majority would want to claim how many press conferences or how many resolutions you could pass on the floor. But you're setting a record. You're setting a record while you're failing the American public. You know what you could be doing right now? If you really cared about fixing our health care system and protecting Americans with pre-existing conditions, that you could do one of the three things in the face of this lawsuit. And let's not lie to the American public. They could repeal the individual mandate. Boom, lawsuit's gone. They could reimpose the penalty. You voted for it before, so why don't you vote for it again? Or they could put a bill on the floor that explicitly protects pre-existing conditions. The difference is that's a bill, not a resolution. Maybe if you had a lot of power, maybe if you really felt strongly about this, make a resolution that even goes to the Senate so the Senate can talk about it too. Or really, if you really care, make a bill. Write a bill. Don't write a press release. Don't lie to the American public. They are smarter than this. You know, the words I've heard today, the line that will sit up to speak, not one of you will use the term of a bill. Not one of you can look the American public in the eye and say you're protecting pre-existing conditions. But what you can say, Madam Speaker, is you're denying a bill that would protect pre-existing conditions and come to the floor because the Republicans authored it. This is an honorable floor. This is a floor that makes history. This is a floor that has changed and shown the values of America to lead the world. But it has not done that by doing resolutions. It is a shame that we're trying to put a resolution on the floor. Is this why you ran? Is this what you craved, to become the majority? I didn't hear any of my constituents say, I want you to go there. Because I heard this language. I heard this language on the other side, Madam Speaker, just from the last speaker. We will fight in court. We will fight on the floor. We will fight in the public's opinion. You know what fighting means if you want to succeed? Put a bill. I didn't know fighting was fighting a press release. Don't take America's time and don't waste it. Because that's exactly what you're doing. You want to tell stories? Go tell the stories to the individuals that are concerned about this. Go tell those individuals you did nothing to solve it. Go tell those individuals you denied a bill to come to the floor that could solve the problem. Be honest. But stop wasting our time. And if you don't want to lead, get out of the way, because we will definitely solve it. I yield back.